So you come to the White House at a time when President Trump has historically low approval ratings. He's signed into law 0 major pieces of legislation. Healthcare is on life support. Multiple investigations are underway. I guess the big question is President Trump facing a communications problem or is it a substance problem?
Did you leave anything out? I mean, you were doing pretty well there.
Is that all you got, Tapper, huh? You want to tell Anthony something else? You going to talk to my face? I love this guy. I love this guy. This is going to be the most fun we've had with a White House comms director in a very, very long time. It keeps going. The party on CNN State of the Union here. It's never been more fun, other than when Gorka's been on.
And by the way, tomorrow I'm going to have a meeting with the communications staff and say, hey, I don't like these leaks. And so we're going to stop the leaks. And if we don't stop the leaks, I'm going to stop you. It's just really that simple.
And by the way, tomorrow, I'm going down to the White House. I'm going to tell them this. I'm going to tell them, you don't stop the leaks, I'm going to stop your face. Actually, it reminds me, guys, that was actually the coolest threat, I think, of the whole thing that he dropped. Actually, the only threat that he dropped the whole thing. All you have to do to fix this, to really get the good vibe of how the White House is going to be run now, make it black and white and throw in the Godfather thing, which we do right now.
By the way, tomorrow I'm going to have a meeting with the communications staff and say, hey, I don't like these leaks. And so we're going to stop the leaks. And if we don't stop the leaks, I'm going to stop you. It's just really that simple. I'm going to stop you. It's just really that simple.
Here's the thing. You leaking something, I'll stop your mouth. Don't make Anthony come down to your office, huh? I love this. This is going to be so great. I want him and Gorka on every CNN show forever. I would watch CNN. I would stop making the interns watch CNN. I would watch CNN. It keeps going. He was on for 26 minutes.
Somebody said to me yesterday, I won't tell you who, that if the Russians actually hacked this situation and spilled out those emails, you would have never seen it. You would have never had any evidence of them.
Hey, somebody told me yesterday, somebody told me something about these emails that we wouldn't know if Russia was involved. Now, get this. Jake Tapper goes down the wrong road here because he asks who the person is. Spoiler alert. It's the boss.
I don't know who this anonymous person is that said that if the Russians had actually done it, we wouldn't have been able to detect it. But it is the unanimous.
How about it was the president, Jake?
Okay, it's the consensus of the intelligence community.
He called me from Air Force One.
Yeah.
Hey, who was it, huh? You want to know who it was? It was the President of the United States. He calls me from Air Force One. You get a call from Air Force One? Nah. You know who does? Old Tony. Tony gets calls from Air Force One. President of the United States called him.
President Trump is contradicting it, and you're siding with President Trump.
Well, I didn't say that I was siding with President Trump. He hasn't made the decision yet to sign that bill one way or the other. And so when he makes that decision, I will 100% side with him because I'm his communications director and I'm his advocate on a show like this.
So I want you to follow that line of questioning for a second from Jake Tapper, because what he's actually asking him is, wait, you're gonna back up what the president says? This is the president's communications director. That's his job to back up what the president. It's his job to communicate what the president wants him to say. This is where the media is now. Like, wait, new comms director who's in here to represent the White House. You're actually going to represent the White House? You guys that is not even a smart question.
Last time I checked, the way the founding fathers put the Constitution together, they made one person the commander-in-chief. It happens to be President Donald J. Trump. He'll make that decision when he makes it, and then I'll come back on the show and I'll explain it to you, and I'll explain to you why he made the decision that way.
I really want Anthony Scaramucci to just read the Constitution. I think him reading the Constitution, like on a bad day, him reading the Constitution, coming out to like let the media know. I think guys, this is a good. Hey, White House, I know you guys are watching. I want Anthony Scaramucci to read the Constitution. But right here, we'll read it together. I'll hand it to, we can just go through it right on the show. It'd be a great time. Because I want him, it just would be so funny. Classic. Oh, next.
While all agree the U.S. president has the complete power to pardon, why think of that when only crime so far is leaks against U.S., fake news? Anthony, who's the president thinking about pardoning?
Well, he doesn't. You just read the tweet again. You want to go over the tweet one more time? Because I'm a pretty good proofreader. He's basically saying he doesn't have to pardon anybody.
So
That's
far.
what he's saying.
So far. He said.
No.
I'll read the tweet again. Let's read it again. I'll read it again.
Hey, you reading the same tweet I am? You want to read it again? You want to read that tweet again to me, huh? Huh? You telling Tony you can't read a tweet? Guys, so I can't get enough of this. I can't get enough. It's so much fun to watch. By the way, if you take a look at the tweet, which is frozen now next to me, the president really doesn't say that he's going to pardon anybody. He literally says, look, there's nobody to pardon. The real crime here is leaking. So, with all the rumors of him potentially pardoning people and causing a shakeup and making things even more controversial than what they are, they aren't. And they're trying to make a story out of nothing. But you're not going to get that past old Tony. He keeps on going down that road. Shame, 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 Jake Tapper. Hope you learned your lesson.
Jake, let's cut through it all, okay? You and I right here, let's cut through it all. You're basically saying that tweet is suggesting that the president is going to pardon himself and every one of his family members.
I asked you.
What are you suggesting?
I'm saying
he's not going to do that.
No, Anthony, I am suggesting one thing. The president tweeted about pardons, and I'm asking you, who's he thinking about pardoning? That's all I'm suggesting.
I think he should. I really think Scaramucci needs to go on the road with Gorka. They could do a 1-2 punch on all these shows. So you got one side, he goes, "You talking to me? Can you read this? Can you? Donald Trump ain't going to do anything wrong." And then Gorka's like, "Your ratings are worse than Nick at Night." And then he can make like goulash, which he did on Fox and Friends a year ago. We got that video, by the way. Gorka making goulash on Fox and Friends. It's coming. It's coming. This interview keeps going, though. And whew, it gets better.
Truth of the matter is that the president's not going to have to pardon anybody because the Russian thing is a nonsensical thing. I was there early on in the campaign. I didn't have any interactivity with Russians. I didn't see anybody have any interactivity with Russians. It is a complete bogus and nonsensical thing. And this is the stuff that happens in Washington I honestly don't like. It's Scandals Incorporated.
I used to watch Kids Incorporated all the time as a kid. It's the same thing. Just they grew up. That's what it is. But guys, really, I'm glad that somebody from the White House is finally saying over and over again that this is a nonsensical non-story, because that's where it needs to be, so we can get back to business as usual in Washington, D.C., and maybe, pass the health care law.
But you guys have to manufacture these scandals to take the president off of his agenda. We're going to put the president right back on his agenda.
Exactly. He's going to get back on the agenda. They're going to beat down this Russia story, which has been going on and on with no evidence and no conclusions that there's collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, which I have said 1,000 times on my own show. This is episode 51, by the way. I've said it like 3,000 times in 50 episodes. It's old. And now, hopefully, they will repeal and replace Obamacare. And don't forget about that wall. The wall thing.
But
does the White House believe?
Time out a second. Let me restate that. I said no. I didn't see anybody do that, and nobody in my knowledge for the last year.
But my point is, just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen. You didn't see that one, and that one happened.
I agree with that, but that was a ridiculous nothing meeting.
Okay.
Time out, everybody. I just wanted to do that. We can do that now. This is great. He keeps calling it nothing. He keeps saying that this is nonsensical. This is exactly what needs to be going on. He's cutting through the questions that are tough. It's exactly what this White House needs to be doing and needed to be doing for, the past 6 months? I was going to say 6 years. Feels like 6 years. The past 6 months. So, kind of exciting. Not for Jake Tapper, though.
Read the tweets that you spent the weekend deleting that were pro-gun control, pro-action on climate change, and they'll think, wow, this guy's willing to suppress everything he believes in order to get close to power. What is your answer? What is your answer to that?
That's a ridiculous Washington sort of narrative, right? That is, number one, it's totally not true. Number two, all I'm doing by deleting the tweets is sending people a message. Here's what I hate about. I hate a lot of things about Washington, but we only have a 1-hour show.
Anthony, listen, man. Now I know I've been making fun of the accent and the whole behavior thing, but if you want to come in here for an hour and talk about all the things you hate about Washington, D.C., we can trade notes. I hate Washington. You hate Washington? I think a lot of people who are in Washington hate Washington, D.C. I'm excited about that. I'd like to hear him maybe just get on and read off a couple of bullet points every time he's on CNN what he hates about Washington, D.C. But everything is micromanaged here in D.C., and everything is like they're looking for every little error that anyone makes. If you delete tweets, you delete tweets. If you flip opinions on things, great world leaders have flipped opinions on things, and he hits that right now.
But let me tell you one of the things I really hate about Washington. we have this political purity test on policy. And so if I'm for something and then I'm against something, then all of a sudden I'm a hypocrite. Yet some of the greatest leaders known to mankind, Winston Churchill started out as a liberal and then he became a conservative. Ronald Reagan started out as a Democrat under FDR and then he became a conservative. And so some of the smartest minds and some of the smartest political leaders have changed and evolved and adapted their opinion.
Makes sense. There it is. People do flip-flop. I mean, nobody ever said anything about Mitt Romney, who flip-flopped on every major issue, by the way. I did a study on that a couple of years ago. Every major issue Mitt Romney flip-flopped on. There wasn't a single issue that he did not flip-flop on. But nobody ever complained about that. Whatever. Hillary Clinton flip-flopped on lots of issues. Barack Obama flip-flopped on lots of issues. The media would never pick up on that. They like them. So this kind of questioning from the mainstream media and the left is what's pushing more and more people to Trump. And Anthony knows that, and so he offers to console CNN with their 2020 future sadness.
Again, Jake, he's going to win again. I'll bring a box of Kleenex over here to CNN.
We don't need
in 2020.
Kleenex.
He's going to win again, Jake.
And he leaves this interview. He leaves this interview by insulting Jake Tapper's makeup. And you didn't think it was going to go there. But you don't mess with Tony. Because Tony will mess with you back.
The only thing I asked Sarah, if you're watching, I love the hair and makeup person that we had on Friday. So I'd like to continue to use the hair and makeup person.
All right, Anthony, you can always swing by CNN. We have hair and makeup here if you ever need it.
You got a lot on today, and you look very tan, Jake. You look tan and refreshed.
Look at that. Look, he ends up just compliments him for wearing too much makeup and looking fake tan. Fantastic. What a good guy. You don't mess with Tony. He's going to mess with you. He's going to defend Donald Trump. You're not going to mess with this administration. We're going to get back on track. I'm not going to stop doing that terrible accent, by the way. It's a thing until he comes on here and probably puts me in a headlock himself or has one of my fingers cut off. I'll be making fun of him.